don't want this. I don't want you turning the phone because it might fall out. I don't want you to turn the mount.
All right. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. All right. I am on my first live question and answer. Hopefully, I'll be doing these almost every Monday at 10:15 Central Standard Time. I am going to be answering questions primarily on YouTube. So I have two phones set up. This one is Instagram and this one is YouTube. I'm going to be watching the YouTube chat mostly for your questions. I see you guys are hopping on Instagram. If you would please join me over on YouTube. On my channel, I'm going to be answering questions here because I cannot keep up with both monitors. So I have one person on my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. Hopefully it's not just myself. Hi, you guys. Hi. Please join me over on YouTube so I can answer your questions. I'm just trying to be more active on YouTube, so this is a way to do it and a way to answer your questions. And I'll be here for a good at least 30 minutes or maybe longer if people want to ask more questions. So I am waiting for you over on my YouTube channel, which is right in front of me. Instagram is right here. My YouTube is Rebecca Heichman, Tailored Keto Health. I have two people. Hello. All right. I'm waiting for, there we go. Hello. Hi, Anja. Hey, Tracy. Thank you for joining. So I have my first question on YouTube. If you're on Instagram, please join us on YouTube. Ways to combat carnivore nausea. So number one, you might not be getting enough electrolytes. I think most people underestimate how many electrolytes we really need. A lot of people are just salting their food or putting pinches of salt in their water. And while that is long-term probably sustainable, if you're first transitioning, I would highly recommend either getting an electrolyte supplement. I love Redmond Relight, or making like a Soul water, which is very saturated with salt, and being sure that you're getting at least 2 to 5 grams of sodium per day. Another reason you could be getting nausea on carnivore is if you're eating rendered fat. So rendered fat is any type of liquid fat. A lot of people are putting butter on their steaks, which is delicious, but it melts and it becomes rendered fat, and that basically runs right through us. So rendered fat, it's kind of like putting water in a Brita filter without a filter. It runs right through you. It goes through your gallbladder at a pace that your liver can't produce enough bile to break it down. So very often we'll get nauseous, we'll get diarrhea, we can get heart palpitations from rendered fat. So those are the two top things that come to mind if you're feeling nauseous going carnivore. The last thing could be that you're dealing with hypoglycemia if you're not fat adapted. So be sure that you're eating enough and getting enough fat as well. Awesome. Waiting for more messages in the chat. Thanks for joining, you guys. Hopefully that nausea question helps. I actually get that question a lot. That rendered fat is, a lot of people like melted fat, but I don't tolerate it at all. It gets into our bone broth. It ends up everywhere. So I like eating the fat that's attached to the meat that I'm eating. How can we combat constipation? Tracy asked. Good question, because everyone gets constipated. I can't tell you, I would say 98% of the people that I work with are first dealing with constipation, and they've had constipation for most of their life. I used to get very constipated. So to combat that, get enough electrolytes. Salt is essential for our colon cells. And then I would increase your fat. If you have a specific fat to protein ratio and you don't want to budge your fat and you're still constipated with where you're at, a trick that I like to tell people, a safe trick to produce a bowel movement, is heat up some water, like a 1/4 cup of water in a mug, and then put a tablespoon of salt in that water, let it dissolve. It should taste like the ocean. It should taste disgusting. Please don't drink all of it. You will get very sick. But if you take a couple sips of that and wait about 2 hours, that's going to pull water into your colon and probably produce a bowel movement. So that's a safe way to produce a bowel movement. If you haven't gone in 48 hours, that's typically what I recommend for clients. But we do want to address the root of the problem. Why are you constipated? It could be that you are still consuming some foods that are making you constipated. Could be that you're not eating enough fat in general. So that's something to definitely look into. But try the salt. The saltwater trick really works. I didn't know that about rendered fat or what rendered fat was in the first place. Yeah, rendered just means liquid fat. Hi, you guys. Please join me on YouTube. I'm answering questions over there. Looks like people are actually joining. Thank you for being here. And I am here to answer any questions that you have. Does carnivore help with PMS? Yeah, for sure. So PMS symptoms, a lot of it just comes from the natural cycle of being a woman. So around our period, serotonin drops, which is why we get very emotional and moody. And that's normal. But if you have estrogen dominance or if you have unstable blood sugars, all of the PMS symptoms are going to be way worse. I used to have painful periods. I didn't have a period for 16 years, and I do now have a healthy period. But when I did have it in like 7th grade, it was very heavy, very painful, and it was horrible. But now that my blood sugars are stable and I'm properly nourishing my body, and I know how to also take it easy, it's way, way better. So carnivore does 100% help with PMS because it is the most nutrient dense way of eating anyone could do, and it also balances your blood sugar levels. Around your period, you should also be eating in a surplus. Your body requires more calories, same with pregnancy. So give yourself permission to have a little bit extra. No, I'm not saying to go binge on, toaster strudels, but give yourself permission to have extra food because your body actually requires it. You are very welcome. Someone asked a question on Instagram. I'll answer until I get more on YouTube. I think I've gotten all of them. Okay. While intermittent fasting, do you recommend unflavored electrolyte versus flavored? Yes, because anything with a sweet taste is going to cause something called a cephalic insulin response. And so it's still an insulin response. It's still going to cause your pancreas to secrete even a small amount of insulin. And so if you're fasting, you're not getting any glucose, you're not getting any energy, but you get insulin, that can actually end up in hypoglycemia. And I used to do that to myself all the time. I would drink those Zevia sodas, no sugar. I would test my blood sugar and it would go down. So I definitely would stay away from any sweet tastes when you're fasting and stick with the unflavored. That's a really good question. Same with like chewing gum. Chewing gum is fun. I love blowing bubbles and chewing gum, but I never, ever, ever do it because it's sending a signal to your brain that you're getting energy. You're tasting something sweet and yummy, and that causes a cephalic insulin response. We have cephalic insulin responses even when we smell delicious food. So to some degree, it's unavoidable, but if you're in the habit of chewing gum all day or sipping on sweet-tasting zero-calorie drinks, this 100% can cause insulin resistance and end up with hypoglycemia or unstable blood sugars. Okay. Do you know if there is a connection between state of ketosis and sleep quality? Definitely. So if you're fat adapted, you shouldn't be waking up during the middle of the night with high cortisol issues. Usually if you're waking up around 2 or 3 a.m., that's a cortisol response. Your body is asking for glucose. When you're fat adapted, your body wants fat and it's happy with your own body fat. So if that is happening to you, then I would recommend having some fat at bedtime and even on your bedside table. I used to keep little slices of butter with cinnamon and sea salt on my bedside table, and it really helped me to become fat adapted. Now, if someone has really, really, really high ketones and a lower blood sugar, this can actually raise your cortisol and adrenaline. So if you're floating in the 4.0 range or even 3.5 in ketones, that could actually raise your cortisol and adrenaline and also inhibit your sleep. So there has to be a healthy balance. For me, my ketones read really, really low, but it's because my body is efficiently using those ketones now. So I think that we are also skewed in our way that we're viewing these ketone numbers. Sometimes when it's really, really high, we're not actually using it. It's just floating around in our bloodstream. So it depends on whether you're using a blood meter or a breath meter, but ketosis will support your sleep until it's too much. There is such thing as too much. And I learned that the hard way. I used to float in the 6.0 range of ketones because I was dealing with seizures, and it really helped with that, but I was wired. It's like I felt like I was high all the time. So there has to be a sweet spot, and it's up to you to find that. I see I got another question on YouTube. Can you take us through a normal day of eating before you were pregnant? Yes. So first of all, I'm no longer pregnant. We had a miscarriage, unfortunately, and I know that it will happen. Just so that you all know, I did recheck all my labs. I did a deep dive into my hormones. Everything looks normal. I have no nutrient deficiencies. I think it was just one of those things where it wouldn't have worked out well, and God took our baby. We had a boy, but we will get pregnant, and it will happen. I know that it's God's will. So a normal day of eating for me before I was pregnant, I'm eating the way I was before I got pregnant. Like as soon as that happened, my appetite went back to what it has been for a long time, which is higher protein than fat. When I first started carnivore, it was higher fat than protein. My body needed that. It needed the extra support from the fat. I didn't have body fat. I was 69 pounds. When I healed and I reversed over 10 autoimmune issues, hypothyroidism, chronic Lyme, I was good. Like my hormones were good. I was stable. I had body fat. I stopped craving so much fat, and then I got into CrossFit and I was craving more protein. So a day of eating for me right now looks like veal or goat. Those are my favorite low histamine cuts that are leaner. And then I'm also going to be eating something with it, whether it be like chips made from those egg white wraps or sweetbreads. I love sweetbreads, or heart. I eat organs every day. My favorite organs are sweetbreads, lamb sweetbreads, goat heart. I love brain. I don't eat it all the time, but sweetbreads and heart are definitely my favorite, and I eat them on a very, very regular basis. Like I have heart 3 or 4 times per week. It makes a good addition to a meal because it's lamb heart or goat heart. They're much smaller, and it's like 3 or 4 ounces, so it's a great way to add some variety to your plate. And I have bone broth. I have homemade bone broth every single day. Sometimes I eat it cold, sometimes I eat it warm. I actually really prefer it cold. And when I'm cooking Billy Joe meats, I end up with all of this broth. I have tons of it in my freezer. It freezes well, and it's super jiggly and super nutrient dense. I also have a carnivore milkshake almost every day. I love peanut butter chocolate carnivore milkshakes made with chocolate prime protein and peanut butter perfect keto collagen. I have discount codes for both of those. Actually, both are tailored is my discount code. So it's just mixing those with ice and water. Sometimes I put yogurt in it, low sugar Greek yogurt by Too Good. It's the only Greek yogurt that I will consume because every other yogurt has way too many carbs or sugar for my preference. So I usually have that almost every day just because it's so refreshing. And occasionally I'll make carnivore brownies. I have both of those recipes on my YouTube channel. Let's see, what else do I eat? Sometimes I'll eat things that are non-animal foods, but I don't really crave them. The other day I got strawberries and blueberries and put them in my yogurt. I had a sweet potato the other day, and that's something that I'll have a sweet potato maybe like 2 times a year. So I crave meat. If I don't eat meat, then I'm not satiated. Another cut that I really love is a lamb leg steak from Billy Joe Meats. The leg steak is a little bit leaner, but it still has some really good fat on the outside, and it's tender. So I cook that from frozen in my air fryer. Each steak is about 14 ounces to a pound. It's got a little bone with marrow inside. It's lamb leg steak. Goat shank is another one of my favorite cuts, and I'll make 3 shanks at a time. I eat a lot of meat. I love fresh herbs. I love rosemary and thyme. And then occasionally I'll eat miracle noodles. So those are made from konjac root shirataki, and I'll mix that with my broth, or I'll make carnivore stroganoff with it. I have that recipe on my YouTube. So a normal day of eating is a mixture of higher protein cuts, very nutrient dense, and every now and then I'll crave higher fat and I'll make something like lamb loins or lamb chops. But I am like a different person in my cravings for fat compared to protein because I've healed, because my hormones are healthy. And when I was pregnant, I definitely craved more variety and I honored that, but I still craved meat. One thing I craved every day when I was pregnant were sweetbreads. They're amazing. They're so nutrient dense and they're delicious. If you guys haven't tried sweetbreads, you're really missing out. Some people are grossed out by the idea. It's from the pancreas or thymus gland, but it's like they're like little fluffy, buttery tasting chicken nuggets, and they're so good for you. So that's what a day of eating looks like. Lots of variety. Sometimes I make venison burgers. I love making burgers and eating it with sauerkraut. Not a lot of sauerkraut. My husband and I have been making homemade jerky with chuck roast and top sirloin. That's been incredible. The problem is that it's gone in a day. And we're running 2 dehydrators. So we eat that a lot, and our dogs eat it a lot. They love it. So I also sometimes make nachos with those meat crisps that we make. I get raw cheese from North Star Bison. I do not eat cheese every day. That's something I reintroduced maybe a year ago. I've been carnivore for almost 4 years now, and it's delicious, but I don't crave it every day. That's a day of eating. Anyone else have more questions? Oh, here we go. Sorry, guys, I had to scroll. Many of us come to this way of eating to treat autoimmune conditions. Would you suggest boosting fat intake to aid in the healing process? Also, really excited to read your book. Thank you. I'm excited for you to read my book as well. I do suggest boosting the fat to aid in the healing process. We need fat. Your body, if you're wanting to pull out carbs, then you have to boost the fat. You need your body to be comfortable burning fat as fuel. If you're underweight, you need a lot of dietary fat coming in. If you're overweight, you first need to become fat adapted, which also requires a lot of dietary fat. The right type of fat is medicine. This is why I really loaded up on Billy Doe meats, because it's lamb, which is richer in omega-3s than wild-caught salmon, and it's also incredibly rich in stearic acid, which promotes mitochondrial fusion. So it literally helps your body to become more efficient at creating energy. That fat supports our central nervous system, our brains. It also helps to heal and seal your gut. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you need the collagen, the bone broth." And what else? Like, you need animal fat to heal your gut. So the answer is yes. The amount of fat that you need really depends from person to person based on what you're working on, your digestion, are you fat adapted, what are your goals, how much extra body fat do you have, etc. How can I get a good fat ratio? I'm sensitive to dairy. I think your question is, how can you get higher fat without dairy? Number one recommendation is suet. Suet is the fat that's found specifically around the kidneys, and it's the second most rich source of stearic acid. The first richest source of stearic acid is cacao butter. You can buy cacao butter on Amazon. I really like the brand Terrasol, and that's actually really convenient because it travels well, it doesn't melt, and it's full of stearic acid, saturated fat. I have a white hot chocolate mocha recipe with that, and that's a good way to get fat. And then also Billy Doe meats. Get some lamb. If anyone calls Billy Doe meats and says, "Hey, Rebecca sent me and she wants me on a higher fat ratio," they will literally curate a variety box for you with their highest fat cuts. It's probably going to be lamb chops, lamb bacon, boneless lamb sirloin, lamb loins. It's delicious. It's to die for. And it's so much more interesting than eating a stick of butter every day, in my opinion. Do you think some people do better with eating carbs than not? Good question. So it depends on your goals. I am actually going to start experimenting using carbs on my heavy leg days. I want to challenge myself. One of my favorite hobbies is getting stronger. And it's not that I want to wreck a good thing, because I gained 65 healthy pounds eating 0 carbs. But I'm here now and I want to keep getting stronger. So I'm going to experiment. And I'm not talking about hundreds. I'm talking about maybe 50 carbs, especially to start out with. Now, that being said, I don't know how that's going to go. It depends entirely on the person, but it is possible. You know, if someone is wanting to get stronger and they want some explosive lifts, they might feel better with some extra glycogen in their system, some carbs. And if you're using it up, then good for you. Like Michael Phelps, he eats like so much. Like it amazes me, but he needs it. He's an Olympic swimmer. Like he needs that. So if your body is, you know, giving such an output and it's doing work that requires glycogen, then it actually might be wise to use carbs. If you're fat adapted, I don't think it's as important. I tend to eat more protein, and your body can turn protein to glucose if needed. And then another situation would just be if it feels too restrictive to not have carbs. I've had one client out of hundreds of clients now, hundreds. I've had one client who did better with carbs at the end of the day. Because even when I work with someone and they go to carbs, they end up going back to no carbs because it's a slippery slope. It's always, yeah, I did a little bit and then I got into more. And that's why I hesitate to even touch carbs, because then I start thinking about them all the time. And I want to live my life. I don't want to live my life thinking about my next meal. I just want to live my life. So carbs do sometimes suppress leptin. They can be hyper palatable. So most people run into those issues, but I think there's balance with anyone and you could definitely benefit from it. So I am going to be getting into carb cycling, but I haven't spoken about it because I don't want there to be pressure. I don't want people freaking out. And it's not going to be anything extreme. So once I actually have some data on it, I will share about it. But the answer is yes. I think some people do feel better with carbs. It's not common and there has to be a balance and you have to have self-control. Where can you get sweetbreads? From Billy Doe Meats. They have lamb and goat sweetbreads. So sweetbreads actually have to pass like a lot of, I don't know, certifications, licenses to be able to sell them. And Billy Doe did a lot of hard work to be able to sell them. My discount code is tailored, and hopefully you get to them before I do because I buy them out. Do I mean tallow? When I say suet is rendered tallow. So when I talked about rendered fat earlier, that's what tallow is. Tallow has been rendered. It's melted suet. So yes, I do mean tallow, but I think eating it in the raw, unrendered form, which is suet, would be ideal. Raw animal foods, raw meat, organs, glands, milk, and dairy versus cooked animal foods. Yes or no, and why? I ate raw for a year and a half, almost 2 years of my life because I craved it. I was underweight. I had a chronic C. diff infection, and this is before I knew I had the C. diff. And I would actually hide in my family's formal dining room to eat my meals of raw meat because they already thought I had an eating disorder, and I didn't want them to see me eating raw meat. I will say that it was easier to digest. So if you are really underweight and you have severe digestive issues, like at the time I had gastroparesis, slow transit colon, and diverticulitis, eating raw meat was a lot easier for me to digest than cooked meat. And I did it and I craved it. But now I don't eat raw meat. I don't have a problem eating raw meat, but I like cooking it a little bit because it's not as chewy and it's not as difficult to eat and it brings out the flavor. So it depends on the season that you're in, and that's my opinion. Now, raw dairy definitely is less inflammatory than pasteurized dairy, but it's still going to be inflammatory by nature. It still acts on our opioid receptors. It suppresses leptin, and it elevates insulin growth factor more than other foods. That's just a fact. But some people do really well with it. Good question. What type of cheeses do you eat? Whatever North Star Bison has, I love to try it. Right now I'm going through a block of sharp white cheddar from North Star Bison, and I had Gouda from them, and then in my freezer I have Monterey Jack from them. What type of cheese? I mean, I'll eat any cheese. Cheese is delicious, but I like to eat raw, so I'm glad that I have a source for it. What's up, Zane Griggs? All right, waiting for more questions. Just checking. Wow, it's so nice that you guys are actually here. I appreciate it. Okay, I think I have all the questions so far, just waiting. If you guys want to join me over on YouTube, that's where I'll be every week, but I'm just doing Instagram as well to direct the traffic over to YouTube. Helen asked, am I getting more dogs? I don't think so. We just got Moose, which is our 6th dog, and we got Moose because I really wanted Tyler actually wanted me to experience what he experienced with Bear. Like, I've never had my own puppy that I raised, and Moose is definitely a mama's boy, and I love him. I love being needed like that. And I told Tyler, I was like, I want another puppy, and he's like, no. He said, we have to have more acreage to have more dogs, but we plan for that. We're shopping for acreage in Tennessee or Texas. We want to build a carnivore compound there, and when we have that acreage, we are down to get more dogs. It'll probably happen. We're also going to get other animals, so we're excited about that. But in this season right now, we will not get more dogs because it would be, I think, irresponsible. They have a great yard. They have tons of space, but it would start to get pretty cramped if we had one more, I think. Do you have career advice for how we can join you and other carnivores spread the science behind this way of eating? Yeah, good question. So I actually offer business consulting. If you want to book a 30-minute or 1-hour call on if you're interested in becoming a health coach, I offer consulting because there are so many schools and there are so many things that you can become certified in. And I just remember going through that myself, and I'm really pleased with my experience. So I love to share that knowledge with other people. Now, everyone's different. I wanted to become a life coach and a health coach, and I was dead set on that because the two are very connected, and I always want to hone in on that. I wanted to focus on behavioral health. Now, some people might not really care about the life coaching aspect of it, so that's going to change your options. I went to the Health Coach Institute. I loved it. I can't say anything bad about it, honestly. I got in there when they were having a deal, and it's a very close-knit community. They have a Facebook support group. You go at your own pace. I finished early, and what I love is that everything was like videos and audio. So I am the type of person who does not do well sitting down, reading a textbook, staring at a screen. So I could, listen to these videos while I was driving. I could access them. I could re-listen to them, and then they would give me an exercise. We would practice with other students, and then also every month I got a call with my own coach. So this was, invaluable. I could ask someone, how do I structure my pricing? Like any questions that I had, they actually offer a coach for you to work with. And it was awesome. And they also didn't sell any like plant-based crap the whole time. They actually said that animal foods are necessary. So I loved it. So the Health Coach Institute is a good option. If you do sign up with them, please use my name, Rebecca Farmer, and I think I'll get something for it. If you don't, no worries, but I'm really pleased with them, and I couldn't say enough good things. But definitely pursue that if you want to share your story. I think that's the number one way that we can help people is just by walking the walk instead of talking the talk. And I lived that with my own family. So even if you just start an Instagram, like if you guys scroll to the bottom of my Instagram, it was just me. I was just being accountable. I was just posting things to be accountable. And I was really sick, and I had to go through a lot to get to where my Instagram is now, but that history, and I would highly encourage you to start making that. Take a picture of yourself now. I took before pictures because I knew it was going to change. It was accountability to myself. I never expected it to go this way. This is better than what I had ever even prayed for. So definitely do that if it's in your heart to share. I've been doing raw animal foods, raw meat, organs, glands, milk, and dairy for almost 40 years, since I was about 20, and I found it's cooked animal foods that are damaged and denatured. So the only thing that I'm aware of that cooks out when we cook food is vitamin C. If you're burning food, that's a different story, and I think that's really fascinating. That's amazing that you're eating raw for almost 40 years. That's incredible. Kudos to you. Quality is very important. I definitely agree with that. I do think that God always provides for what we need. Sometimes I work with people who say, I can't afford Billy Doe meats. I can't even find lamb. Can I work with you? And it's like, yeah, God is going to provide. So we're going to work with whatever resources you have. Eating conventional meat still eons better than eating pizza and wings. Like Tyler gets super cheap meat from the Spanish supermarket. That's what we make our jerky from, and we do really great with it. But I will say that I really needed high quality meat. Billy Doe Meats was a game changer for me, and they are halal, they're holistically raised, and it's awesome. I just started carnivore on Friday and also went cold turkey off of my pain meds that I've been on for 10 years to preserve my liver. And I have no gallbladder, having chronic diarrhea. I'm miserable. If you have no gallbladder and you just went carnivore, first of all, I don't know about going cold turkey. I don't think that's a good idea. If you can withstand the pain, that's a personal decision, but I honestly think that you need to give yourself some grace and maybe come up with a weaning schedule that you stick to. I think that's really awesome of you that you could do that, but you're miserable. So you need to also maintain the quality of your life right now. You might consider taking something like kratom, which is it's made from the evergreen tree leaf. Kratom acts on our opioid receptors and it helps with pain a lot. You could certainly take that while you're weaning yourself off of your other medications. I have a discount code for that. You can find it from the link in my bio. I've used that when I had a stress fracture once. I used kratom. When I think I got COVID, I never tested for it, but my body was in so much pain, so I took kratom and I could walk again. So definitely give yourself some grace. Now with your gallbladder, I would highly recommend breaking up your meals. If you have just gone carnivore and you're eating fat, try and don't copy everyone else or the majority of people here doing either OMAD or 2 meals a day. Even though that feels natural, it naturally happens and it's a good thing. If you don't have a gallbladder, you really should be breaking up those meals into smaller portions because your gallbladder needs a break. It needs some support in digesting that fat. You 100% can do carnivore with no gallbladder. You might consider getting some ox bile right now, but you don't even need ox bile in the long run. You just got to give your body time to adjust. But I would definitely break up your meals. Make sure that you're not getting any rendered fat that I spoke of earlier. No melted fat. Did you take digestive enzymes when you were trying to gain weight? Do you think someone who is underweight with Lyme and a lot of sensitivities should eat beef tallow and ancestral supplements? So I cut out all of my supplements when I started carnivore because I wanted to see how powerful it was. I did reintroduce digestive enzymes when I started doing higher protein. I started taking a supplement called Mass Zymes from BioOptimizers. I have a discount code for that somewhere. And it works. It has more enzymes than any other supplement on the market. I did that because I knew I was going to be eating a lot more protein and I knew it would be a lot on my body. I didn't stay on it. I just got off of it. I took it for about 2 weeks. So I didn't really take digestive enzymes when I was trying to gain weight. I did for a season, but for most of my healthy weight gain, I didn't take any supplements because I wanted to see what carnivore could really do. The truth is, your digestion will improve from the meat that you're eating. The meat is the medicine. We need those vitamins to actually heal digestion. So it kind of feels like a catch-22 sometimes when you start eating in a way that actually triggers your digestive issues, but you give it a little bit of time, let your the stomach environment change and let those nutrients go to work to heal your digestion. Do you think someone who is underweight with Lyme and a lot of sensitivities should eat beef tallow and ancestral supplements? I have issues with ancestral supplements. Personally, it gave me really bad histamine reactions, and it's happened with more clients than I can now count. And so I really love Grassland Nutrition for any type of organ supplement. Grassland Nutrition is freeze-dried, so it's low histamine. I have a discount code with them. You can find it in the link in my bio. I would recommend that if you're not already eating liver. And if you don't like the taste of liver and you do want to consume it, I would recommend just having little frozen pieces like this big, the size of a dime. That's a multivitamin. Liver is so nutrient dense. That's what I do every day. And see how you feel. I did not eat liver for a while because it has some glycogen and it also has high amounts of B12, which can also trigger histamine intolerance. So I didn't start doing liver for at least a year, but now I do it every day. And then the beef tallow, yeah, I think anyone can consume beef tallow, but I just know that there's a threshold because tallow has been rendered. So you might be better off doing something like suet. And then I know, Helen, I know you asked a question. Should we be mindful about the amount of charred meat we eat? Yeah, for sure. Charred meat, if it's burnt, if it has black pieces, don't eat the black. Charred, I'm not concerned about. But if it's black and you taste that charcoaly taste, that's a problem. That causes inflammation and oxidative stress. So definitely try not to eat that stuff. I have Graves' disease and my thyroid was ablated. I also lost my gallbladder and have IBS. I struggle with diet so much. I'm so sorry. Sounds like your digestion must be not the best. And so it's going to be a new normal that you're going to find. And you have to allow yourself to not compare yourself to other people because that's not going to help you. And I had to learn that too. But I do think that focusing on the most nutrient dense foods is going to really help you. And it'll be the best for your digestion. Focus on animal foods because that's not foreign to your body. Your body knows how to use them. And also know that your body wants to heal, it wants to thrive. So, whatever circumstances you're stuck with, God will make a way. Someone says B12 is destroyed by heat. I disagree. I'll have to Google that and double check, but I had the MTHFR gene mutation. I had really low in the toilet B12 for a long time. I had to take methylated vitamins. And when I started carnivore, I stopped those vitamins and my B12 is off the charts. I definitely am absorbing it and I'm definitely cooking my meat. So that's very interesting. What brand of ox bile do you think is good for someone who is underweight and very sensitive? There's a standard one. I wish I knew the name of it, but there's one on Amazon. It's a white bottle with a like teal blue lettering that says just ox bile. And you just want to be sure that it doesn't have pork in it. Some of these ox biles have like pork casing or covering or something, and I would avoid that. I don't know the brand off the top of my head. If you would like to shoot me a message, I can send you a link to the brand that I'm talking about. I would love to do that for you. I wonder if that's why I'm having bad histamine reactions. I've just started taking ancestral gallbladder. I can't tell you how many people have told me that they had a reaction to it. Even the kidney supplement that they have gives people histamine reactions, which is so ironic because DAO is supposed to help with histamine intolerance. I just ran out of Mastimes and need more. That stuff is awesome. Thank you for answering my questions. Are you familiar with Pottinger's cats? No, I am not. Appreciate all you do. Do you count calories at all on carnivore? What are your thoughts on calorie counting? If you're gaining weight and you don't have control of that, or you're losing weight and you don't have control of that, yes, you should be accountable for macros. I don't count calories, I count macros. I think that 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight is very appropriate. And if you're not getting that, then you might consider bumping it up. And then I think that more fat than protein is also very appropriate. Depending on where you're at in your journey, that could be 2 to 1, that could be 1.5 to 1 fat to protein in grams. And once you dial into what you need with those, it'll end up at the caloric amount that works best for you. But like when I had to gain weight, yeah, I had to be sure I was eating enough. It was terrifying. So step number 1 is like, okay, I need to be accountable and I need to track this. Otherwise, what you measure, you can manage. So sometimes you need data. Some people don't need to at all. Their leptin kicks in, they stop eating carbs, and their weight regulates. That's what leptin does. But I had more things to work through, and I did have to keep track of them. Now I do not count them. I am just really aware of how much protein I need to eat every day, and I'm aware of, I can look at something and know how much fat and protein is in it, approximately. I'm not a master of this, but it's because I actually did track macros for long enough to know, okay, this is what my body needs at this time. Helen says biooptimizers is good for fat digestion too. Good to know. So that might be helpful for someone who doesn't have a gallbladder. Yes, I will send you a message so you can send me. My email is Rebecca, REBEKAH, at tailoredketo.health. I'd like info about how to work with you. So you guys can email me, or you can click the link in my Instagram bio, and there's this like a submission page, but that comes to my email, and I will send you all of the info on working with me. And I also offer a breakthrough call. So, I don't expect someone to commit to working with me just from an email. We can hop on the phone and discuss which option would be best for you, if I'm a good fit. It's it's something that you are investing in. And so I actually get uncomfortable when people are like, yes, I want to work with you. And like, we haven't even had a conversation. That makes me really nervous because it makes me feel like you're not really investing in this. I want to make changes that last a lifetime. I want to make changes with you that you're not going to go back to where you were. And so, that process takes time, but you can email me. Again, my email is Rebecca, REBEKAH, at tailoredketo.health. I'm dealing with stiffness and chronic pain. So definitely focusing on low oxalate. If you're eating anything that is not an animal food, focus on low oxalate. I would highly recommend that you pull out pork or chicken from your diet if you are consuming it, and replacing that with ruminant fatty meat. This is something that a lot of people miss. If you are hitting a wall, a plateau with your carnivore diet, and you feel like you've tried everything, but you haven't removed the daily bacon, give it a shot, because it's an omega-6 inflammatory oil. Polyunsaturated fat is not readily used by the body for fuel. It's actually recycled into our lymphatic system and deposited into our fat cells for storage. So saturated fat is easily oxidized. It promotes anti-inflammatory. It has anti-inflammatory effects. It promotes autophagy. So I would definitely focus on that. I would just need to know more about you to be able to make any more recommendations, but also give it time. Can you please make more videos showing how to cook lamb correctly and the different cuts of beef? Yeah, I can do that. I can make a YouTube video on just like my favorite cuts and how to cook them. I do have a video on, I think it's like talking about pressure cooking and air frying, but it is about how to cook cuts, and it's really simple. It's like, if it has a bone in it, then pressure cook it for this long. If it doesn't, then air fry it from frozen. So I do have a video on that, but I will make a new video for sure. And if you ever buy lamb from Billy Doe Meats, feel free to send me a message or an email asking me how to cook what you bought. I'm more than happy to help you. And if I don't know, then I will ask Huda, or you can ask Huda. She's amazing and she'll know how to cook things also. But it's really not as intimidating as it might feel. Good morning. It's so important, but most people do not what the so-called experts say and follow them blindly as they do, as they're so desperate. Yeah, I agree. How much does a breakthrough call cost? How does someone set up a breakthrough call with you? The breakthrough session is free. So step number 1 is to email me. I will send you my options. If those are financially capable for you and you're interested in choosing an option, we will set up the breakthrough call to help establish which option is best for you. If it is not financially within your means or you need to save up, then let me know and we'll revisit. But the breakthrough call is free. It's about 15 to 20 minutes. It's just a chance for us to actually talk over the phone and for you to share everything and to confirm that I'm going to be a good fit for you, for me to answer questions for you. And obviously, I will want to ask you a couple questions to be sure that I can properly help you, that I'm confident that I can help you. Sometimes those conversations don't always happen over email or from the initial submission. So that's what that breakthrough is for. Just reach out to my email. Let's see if I missed any questions on Instagram. I don't think so. So we have about 15 minutes left, and I would love to keep answering questions. Someone said my leptin level is a 9. if you need to improve leptin, there are so many different ways to do it, but also focus on like the non-food ways. Like you need to be sleeping well, you need to be managing your stress. This is why I became a life coach, because behavioral health is something we all need to learn and be responsible for, myself included. If Tyler and I get into a fight and I don't sleep well, the next day I have cravings like crazy. Sleep regulates my blood sugar the next day. My leptin is suppressed if I'm not sleeping. Another way to support leptin is remove the hyperpalatable foods, remove the dairy, and remove the sweet tasting things. It's going to reset your leptin. I guarantee it. This is a situation where, you know, if someone has a binge eating disorder and they're triggered by anything that tastes sweet, let go of the artificial sweeteners. When I first came up with my carnivore brownies, I had to hide them in the bottom of my chest freezer. I had to make it very difficult for me to get to them, and I would portion out little portion sizes that were acceptable for me. But if I just had the whole thing like available to me, I would eat the whole thing. So I had to look out for myself. And now it's not like that at all. Now I make a batch and I'm like trying to give them away to Pat because I can't finish them because my leptin is working properly. So give yourself time, but also set boundaries would be probably really helpful. Cold hands and feet in carnivore. Sounds like your thyroid is not functioning optimally or you're getting hypoglycemia. Both are from insulin resistance. So if you're getting cold, especially after you eat, you're probably getting a flux of insulin, but you don't have glucose. So it's pushing your blood sugar down too low. That's insulin resistance. You need to eat more food and focus on fatty protein together. Fat and protein is what supports insulin sensitivity. It's not just the fat, but you want to be sure that you're getting enough fat. You also might focus on leading your meals with a bite of fat. That's going to send the signal to your brain that your body is burning fat. If you just start with a piece of like cod, like lean protein, your body is, you're sending that signal that you're getting fuel, but your body's not getting any fuel. So it might switch to gluconeogenesis. It might switch to glucose burning, and then you're going to end up with a low blood sugar. So eat more fatty protein. What form of ruminant meat is better for acid reflux? Acid reflux, whatever ruminant meat you enjoy. Acid reflux is just coming from not enough stomach acid, and when you stop eating sugar and carbs, the environment of your stomach becomes more acidic. So I don't think there's any ruminant meat that's better than others for acid reflux. I live very rural. Does Billy Doe Meats and North Star Bison ship via FedEx, UPS? Not sure USPS would deliver to me. I do believe they do. They ship to Canada. The problem is that the shipping costs a lot and they lose money. But they are here to help people and they do so much to make it affordable. So definitely give them a call over the phone and ask them what they can do. But I'm sure they would be happy to work with you. They always are. They're so awesome, you guys. Can you show how to cook the lamb and beef without using a pressure cooker? Because I don't have one. Just use my oven and skillet. If you're running into histamine issues, then I would highly recommend investing in a pressure cooker, but it would just be the same method on the stovetop and it would take 3 times as long. So I will make a video on cooking methods, but it's going to be with a pressure cooker because I don't recommend or condone cooking things on a stovetop because so many of us have histamine issues. But that would be your solution. So you could get a pot and just you could roast things in the oven or you could cook it in a pot on the stove, but it would be for like 12 hours for something that would be done in 4 hours in the pressure cooker. I did do the carnivore diet for 17 months, but I plateaued. I was eating a mono diet of just lamb chops. Wow. It did really help. So you know what helps with the chronic pain and stiffness. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You were just doing lamb chops. Now that sounds pretty delicious, but there's not much variety. So for me, I tried just beef, salt, and water 8 times and it never worked. I felt worse and it was so restrictive. So I gave myself permission to draw outside the lines, to rip the label off of it and do what worked for me. And I have organs and I have lamb and I have goat and veal and sometimes beef. And that's what makes it sustainable. So focus on variety and sticking with the animal foods. And if you're interested in coaching, I would love to dig in deeper with you. It sounds like you're on the right path and you're headed in the right direction, but you need some support and guidance. Angela says, I always say that sugar is a big culprit for acid reflux. 100%. When I met Tyler, he was taking like reflux inhibitors every day, and he was addicted to sugar, and he doesn't need to take those anymore. His digestion is normal, and it acts up when he starts eating carbs again. So it's 100% the sugar. I don't know about histamines and stovetop. Yeah, you didn't know that. Yeah, so the longer that something is exposed to the air or cooked, the higher the histamine content will be. So the pressure cooker cuts that time into a quarter, not even in half, into a quarter. So you're reducing so much histamine by doing that. It's really worth the investment. I mean, you can get, I have an air fryer that's doubles as a pressure cooker. So that's another thing you could do. You could get a double investment if you don't have an air fryer. And then you can cook meat from frozen, which will also reduce histamine. Are all the meats from Billy Doe and North Star Bison not aged? Does U.S. Wellness Meats have beef that is not aged? I used to love U.S. Wellness Meats, and then their prices went up, and I stopped getting it so much. They do age a lot of their meat. I reached out about their beef, and they said that the minimum is 30 days, and it's hard to find anyone that doesn't have that. And then I met Billy Doe Meats. So Billy Doe is the only one that I know of that literally doesn't use aging in any of their processes. Like, they don't use it at all. North Star Bison has a tab on their website of low histamine non-aged meat. So they have a selection for those who want to stay low histamine. So they will specify for you. I don't really know about U.S. Wellness Meats if they have non-aged meat. I haven't shopped with them for years now. Are you noticing the ones that do more raw animal foods look better than the ones that do? No, I don't at all. I really don't. How long does a stomach stay acidic for once you cut out carbs and sugar? Your stomach environment is entirely dictated by what you're eating. So this is why probiotics are mostly a scam, because your gut flora, your stomach environment is dictated by what you eat. So if you want your stomach to be more acidic, then you need to eat more protein and fat. If you want it to be more alkaline, then you should eat more plants and sugar. And your body regulates the acidity of your blood so much so that you can't do anything to change it. I wish I could find a Billy Doe Meats in the UK. I wish you could too. You could always just look up local farmers and butchers. There has to be someone with lambs that would be willing to maybe let you buy in bulk, which would be ideal. And you can buy the organs off of them, and then you're supporting a local farmer, which feels so good. That's how I found Billy Doe. I was using eatwild.com, typed in my zip code, found them, called them. They were amazing, and they wanted to support me, and we've been best friends ever since. They're my family. They're awesome. So just look for your local farmer, and creating a relationship with a farmer or a butcher is actually a really good idea, because meat prices are going up. Obviously, they're pushing plants on us, and now they're pushing insects on us. So creating that relationship would be really good for both people, to support them, but also so you have a source. Looking for any more questions. We have a couple more minutes. Just want to make sure I didn't forget any. I don't think I did. If I manage to figure out the correct protocol, how long might it be before I stop feeling excruciating all over pain/stiffness? I know it's hard to say. If you get the right protocol for you, I would expect it to be less than a year. Another, I think, decent way to think about it is, how long have you been dealing with this? How long have you been eating the wrong foods and causing inflammation to your body? So seed oils have a half-life of 680 days. That's 2 years. Oxalate dumping can last for up to 10 years. So those are just two examples of inflammation that might take a little bit longer to leave your body. But you should notice significant improvement within months if you're doing the right thing. And that's just my personal opinion. Obviously, I cannot predict the future. Should someone start with a half a scoop of the Equip protein powder if they're very, very sensitive? Yeah, that's my recommendation. The only people that I've heard be sensitive to Equip foods, it was with the strawberry flavor, and they were reacting to the beetroot powder. excuse me, but the most sensitive people that I've worked with really do well with equip foods. But always start little with anything. Any reintroductions, even with butter and egg yolks, start small. Because if you do react to it, you don't want to be like bedbound. But I think you should be really good with equip foods, prime protein. I love that stuff. You could even start with the unflavored if you want. Thank you, Arlene. I appreciate it. What makes me the happiest in life? Helping other people. Being able to write a book about everything I went through, like the torture and nightmare that I lived, that I didn't think I would get out of, and being able to give the glory to God because He deserves the glory. Like, I never would have chosen the carnivore diet if I hadn't surrendered what I thought was best. And that's like a full surrender. And in that surrender, I received God's grace, and that makes me really happy to be able to talk about it. It makes me happy that like I'm doing this to help people. I'm doing this because I feel such gratitude in my heart that I can't help but share and help other people. I'm happy. What makes me happiest is that like I'm not chasing money, I'm not chasing fame. It's just like it's effortless because it's in my heart to do so. God has put a calling on my heart, and that makes me happy to walk in that calling. And I would encourage everyone to, dig down deep about what is God actually calling you to do, because the quality of your life matters so much. And if you're chasing the wrong thing, you're just going to throw it away. Other things that make me really happy are hitting PRs at the gym. Today I hit a PR on my back squat. My previous PR was 115, and today I got up to 150. Guys, that's huge. That might not sound heavy to some people, but I'm so proud of myself. That made me happy. Our dogs make me really happy. I can't wait to go kiss and cuddle Moose after this video. And my husband makes me really happy. Tyler is amazing. He is my best friend, and we can be funny, and he farts a lot, and I think it's hilarious. And yeah, those are things that make me happy. Billy Doe Meats deliveries make me really happy. It feels like Christmas Day. And talking to my clients. I don't know if Helen is still here, but Helen is one of my clients who I am so excited every time. I'm like, oh, I get to talk to Helen today. She has such an awesome story. If you guys want to check out her Instagram, it's cured.eated, I think. But she's incredible, and yeah, she's kind of like a mini me. Like, we can relate on a lot of things. That makes me happy. Are you 100% sure that seed oils are bad? I see a lot of pretty solid arguments online showing they're not bad, but I don't know who to believe. Check out Kate. Oh, what is her name? Oh, man. Not Angela Stanton, but I'm interviewing Angela today. Kate Shanahan. Kate Shanahan is the expert on seed oils, and she's the one that convinced me this is no good. And that includes olive oil, avocado oil. It includes it. There is so much research showing that it embeds itself into our cells. Even at my previous spring retreat, Dr. Barry was asked about seed oils, and he was explaining that some of them can actually stay in your cells for up to 10 years. Yes, that's bad. It's causing inflammation. I am 100% sold that seed oils are bad. And this is coming from someone who was totally like addicted to the plant fats. When I switched from keto to carnivore, one of the hardest things for me was letting go of MCT oil, olive oil, avocado oil, and just going to tallow. I was so concerned about my ketones, and it's like, I am only getting nutrients from animal fats. It's a game changer. And now I'm super duper fat adapted and in ketosis, and I healed my gut. So yeah, I personally am convinced and convicted, but I do not know everything. I'm learning every day. And so who knows, we might learn that eggs are bad. I'm just kidding. Eggs are awesome. But yeah, seed oils are bad. I haven't seen anything good come from them. You do look extremely healthy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Have you looked into fermented foods and brews and how they aid in digestion and health? I eat sauerkraut and kimchi because I enjoy it, and I notice small changes in my digestion when I taste them, but no other changes, and I wouldn't even say improvements. I just noticed changes. So I haven't really looked into them much because of the fact that fermented foods are higher in histamine, so they trigger a lot of people. And then they can also feed bad bacteria. And a lot of us here on an animal-based diet are trying to kill candida, so it's just not even like an option. So I don't dig into it that deeply or recommend it a lot. Carnivore made me feel stronger both mentally and physically. 100%. 100%. Carnivore really allowed me to like come into my full potential. I am not the type of person who would do live YouTube and Instagrams or write a book or voluntarily do burpees and running at CrossFit 6 days a week. That is not the old me. It's just that I decided to start eating in a way that really enables me to meet my full potential. And it continues to get better and better. I really, really mean that. I feel better and better. I needed to hear this. I know you did. You're on my heart right now, and I knew you needed to hear that. So I'm glad. I care about you, and I love you, and I'm praying for you. Are they really trying to jab livestock now? Yeah, for sure. They don't want us eating meat. They have not wanted us to eat meat for a long time, and now they're really pushing everything and anything that they can, but it's just such crap. See if there are any more questions on YouTube before I wrap up. I pre-ordered your book. Can't wait to get it. Thank you so much. So my book is for pre-order, the paperback on my website, and then you can pre-order the ebook on Amazon. And I'm actually going to be bringing all the books to my house and then shipping them out individually. So I'm excited, for anyone who I actually know, I'll be writing notes in there, and my book will be included in every gift bag at my upcoming retreat. If anyone's interested in the spring retreat, it's going to be with Dr. Kiltz and Dr. Lisa Wiedemann. They're incredible, and I cannot wait to spend time with them, but you'll also get to spend one-on-one time with me. And these retreats change lives. People leave with a sustainable approach, and it's like I get to leave an imprint on someone by hosting this retreat. You'll leave with a tribe, with confidence, and so I'm excited. If anyone's interested, please email me, and I'll send you the info. We do have spots open, and it's going to be at North Myrtle Beach. Really beautiful place, right on the ocean. Okay. So I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining. I will be looking for emails if anyone has any extra questions. I'm happy to help. Thank you so much hi Randy, thank you. Thank you for being here. And I am planning on doing this every Monday at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And then I'll also continue to do monthly question and answers on YouTube, but hopefully just keep doing this on YouTube Live. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.